For several hours it seemed like the Syria Congress in Sochi would collapse before it began. Turkish-backed opposition figures refused to participate after arriving at Sochi's airport overnight, offended by the presence of Syrian government flags.
We were surprised to see that none of the promises were kept. Neither the brutal bombardment stopped, nor were the Syrian regime flags and slogans removed from the conference banners. And we have seen a lack of diplomatic manners from the host country.
2 hours late, proceedings finally got underway. But the chaos continued during Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's opening remarks in the conference hall. In the room, 1,393 international observers and delegates from many walks of Syrian life, political, religious, ethnic, cultural and business. They pushed ahead with dialogue, agreeing in the end to embrace 12 principles developed in the UN's stalled Geneva process and to form a constitutional committee comprising Syrian government and opposition figures. But there was no disguising the absence of the main rebel organisations, among them the Syrian Negotiations Committee.
The key concern that many in the opposition have had about Sochi, and what's kept plenty of figures away, is that this would turn into a way for Russia to sidestep the official UN track to peace. Well, that's something the Russians have denied strenuously here, saying this was never meant to compete with Geneva, and now they say they are handing the baton on to Staffan de Mistura.
It's a task the UN Special Envoy has chosen to accept.
The Constitutional Committee is to be formed, comprising the government of the Syrian Arab Republic delegation, along with a wide represented opposition delegation for drafting a constitutional reform.
The main tests for the ultimate success of Sochi are whether the opposition factions who stayed away can be persuaded to endorse its decisions, and whether it does, as Russia says was always the intention, reinvigorate talks in Geneva. Rory, Challands, Al Jazeera, Sochi.